Are now live. It says going live, but as we all know, it actually is live. Check me out at twitch.com. No, I'm sorry, twitter.com/lore reloaded, twitch.tv/lore reloaded. I will be doing a live stream on Wednesday at about 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Probably be playing a game, doing like a lore run of it or something like that, where it'll be like just, having fun with the lore. And that is not, short trek hate. Yeah, I did it right. Hope everyone's doing well today. We got Vile Mike in the house. What is going on, Vile Mike? South Gilboard, David, always a pleasure to have you on here. Continuum Trek, of course. Let me know if you guys are getting the alerts. YouTube sometimes does not enjoy doing the alerts. And so while I have you here, and there's not a lot of people on, so I won't get in trouble for it, let's do this. Hello?
Hello?
Hey, I'm live right now, so let you know. You want to bring over a Philly cheesesteak? Hello?
Okay.
You want to bring one over?
Sure.
All right, well, you really going to do it or not really?
Probably not.
Oh, okay, well, that's unfortunate. All right, well, I'm going to get back talking to these people.
Okay, have fun.
All right, bye. She was sleeping, so that was a good idea on my side. Is this video about the final? Was this video about the destruction of the Vulcan problem? It is indeed about taking care of the Vulcan problem. So we gotta take out those dirty Vulcans. I think we discussed that. What was that? That was on the last. Oh hell, I'm tired. Live stream where we talked about where the Andorians were going to kill all the Vulcans, because you don't see any Vulcans and you see all the Andorians in front. So maybe they're out to get all of the Vulcans. Think about it. That would take care of the quote unquote Vulcan problem. So is that where it's going with, or is it not? It's okay. We got the alerts. Well, good. I'm glad some people got the alerts. As bad as Discovery is, I'll watch all day before I watch any of the new Star Wars trilogy garbage. I don't think the Star Wars stuff looks all that bad. And honestly, it's the different side of the same coin, in my opinion. Well, in 2009 Trek, the Vulcans were outright racists. I don't remember that in 2009 Trek. At what point were they racists at all? Well, let me rephrase that. They've always had a superiority complex. We see it in Enterprise. I think we see it in the original series. And I don't know about Voyager. Probably not Voyager. DS9, Deep Space Nine, we see as well. This guy's voice absolutely makes my soul shiver with such great excitement. I would totally have brought him a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Just keep him inspired for more content. Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, maybe we need to start like a GoFundMe where all we do is have Philly cheesesteaks brought to me. Jason, love you, bud, but my man Foley is going live. Nah, you gotta stay here. That's the only requirement. I've never bothered to watch any of the short treks, partly because I refuse to pay for all access, partly because I don't really care to. The short treks are a mixed bag, honestly. Most of them just have like a skin, a trek skin, versus actual depth added to them or tie-ins. Of all the ones, I'm trying to think if there's even one that reminds me of solidly Trek. And I don't think there is. I would like to say Harry Mudd, but I really just like the actor more than anything else. When it comes to the Q&A and the trouble with Edward, I don't think they add like a ton. You want me to move that so you can get on? I don't think they add a ton to the mythos. I do think that Q&A probably has a good character analysis of number one, and it adds a little bit more to her overall depth. But for the most part, it reminded me of a bottle show more than anything else. No, stay back. Sean helping out the channel. Love the voice. Thank you so much for the support. And the voice loves you, I guess. Don't use your claws and that won't be an issue, buddy. Don't forget about the Logesians. Who are the Logesians? New Star Wars looks cinematically, but writing is worst Discovery ever thought about being. The writing is worse than Discovery ever thought about being. To be fair, we don't know what the third one is. And it's going back to the original director, not Ryan Johnson, or Ryan whatever his name is. I think that it'll probably be a little bit better because it's going back to the person who originated it. We'll just have to see. It is my hope that he takes some of the good and leaves a lot of the bad. For instance, we don't see Rose, and I think that's a positive. My cat is being a jerk right now too. Yeah, he wants to get in my lap, and that's just not doable. He can lay down behind me though if he wants to. The triple short trek doesn't work because in Enterprise it's already established that they multiply rapidly. The Doctor explained this as he fed one to one of his animals. Nope. See, I actually discussed this in my most recent video where I break down the short treks. I don't think that breaks continuity. First off, even if it did, that is not the worst continuity break on God's green earth. In fact, it's rather benign. But that said, there's a couple of explanations for why we see a tribble that is not gestating as quickly. First off, this tribble could be a subspecies, one that doesn't gestate as quickly as the others. Secondly, it is made abundantly clear that Edward is an idiot. He is not worth the space that he takes up. So someone who's not worth the space that they take up might have actually gotten it wrong. The other piece to that is that when he said slowly, we could bend. Now, I'll agree this would be a heavy bend, but bend and say that it is not as fast as other animals that he's seen, and perhaps it is still quote-unquote quickly. I think there are some explanations out of it. So the fact that it doesn't necessarily completely line up isn't outside the realm of being explainable. I think you can explain it away pretty easily. And the fact that they don't know about it in the original series, I went over that too. I think that if this did happen because it's in continuity, it makes sense to me that Starfleet would do a huge cover-up to prevent the Klingons from realizing or finding out that it was Starfleet's fault that the tribbles exist, as they are generally trying to prevent a war. So I don't find it to be that huge of an issue because there are explanations around why that actually occurs. Ozzy and F, how are you doing? I'm doing well. And yourself? Thought I'd come on, talk to you guys a little bit. To the pretty kitty, its presence is refreshing. Anyone who ever mentions the cat or wants the money to go to the cat, I actually buy them something with it. So I'll get him some catnip or a toy. I actually have 2 of them that they play. Star Trek Online has kind of established that there are many breeds of tribbles and not all reproduce quickly. Yeah, I don't think that's outside the realm I just don't think that's outside the realm of believability. I don't think it's fourth wall breaking. So there's multiple different types of species on planet Earth. So why wouldn't there be in the Trek universe? Aaron Kid 12 Animation, hey, what's your goal? I don't understand what that means. Rose was in the trailer, 31 seconds into it. Rose wasn't in the trailer. I refuse to accept that. Rose was not in the Star Wars trailer. Let's take a look. Hold on. Star Wars trailer. Let's just do that. The final trailer. You said the 31 seconds? I refuse. She's not in the 31 seconds. They wouldn't do that to me. Oh, yeah, there she is. Well, she doesn't play a big part, thank God. At least not in the trailer. Man, I hope they don't make that. It's just a horrible character. An entire fleet of Star Destroyers hiding under icebergs and space horses. Yippee. You know, again, that's not outside of the realm of possibility. We have, in the expanded universe, them hiding like that. So, I don't know. I guess the more I become accustomed and look into Star Trek, the more the more I attempt to break everything down, the more I see how all of this has happened before and all of it will happen again. Rose Saves the Day would be the absolute worst thing on planet Earth. Chris Kirium is channel surfing. What's going on, Chris? I personally believe that tribbles are the most insidious weapons ever devised. Let them loose on the planet and bye-bye ecosystem. Yeah, I was talking about that, and that's what I said. They are the destroyers of economies. And it's funny, because in the original series, they laugh about how, I think it was Scotty, put some of the tribbles on the Klingon ship. That will destroy ecosystems. And it was a joke? Are you kidding me? I just, no. Hi, Laura. How's it going? Going well, Multi-Gun Man. Hope it's going well for you. Well, in any case, it was funny to see Bob from Bob's Burger and Starfleet outfit. Am I missing all of this? Where is Bob from Bob's Burger? That's awesome, though. I would love to see Bob from Bob's Burger in the Star Wars outfit. I'd love that. I wonder if one of the short treks are going to establish the fan theory that it was the Federation who established the Borg after the remnants of the tech that was found in Enterprise. I can see them doing that. I hope they don't. I think it's okay for... It is all right in a universe for not everything to be tied to the main protagonists. It is okay for the Borg to be completely alien and no fault of humanity. That is actually okay. What's Bob's Burgers? You don't know what Bob's Burgers? Oh my God. Sea Lance. First off, you got to watch both Archer and... you got to watch both Archer and Bob's Burgers. Hold on, let me do this for you. I love Bob's Burgers. It's fun for the whole family. There you go. As well as Archer. Go watch both of those. That short trek Edward guy is also the voice of Archer. And that's where I knew him from. That's what you're talking about. I could not place the character. Okay. Oh my God. I'm an idiot. His voice, I knew his voice sounded familiar. I just never looked up the actor. Jesus Christ, I'm stupid. That makes me love the character. I'm going to watch that over and over and over again. Was he in home movies? I didn't know that. Oh man. Oh my God. See, now I got to support it on principle. Okay, I'm calling it. The Trouble with Edward is the best, absolute best short trek, nay, Star Trek episode ever done. God, I knew he sounded really familiar. Man, I don't know why I didn't look that. H. John played it way too stupid for Bob. He was channeling Arch, maybe. Regarding Star Wars, I want Rey to become evil and Kylo to be redeemed. Honestly, I think they missed the perfect opportunity to Star Wars. I think at the end of Star Wars, the way that should have ended is with a new what's the word I'm looking for? A new type of villain where Rey, still a part of the good guys, and Rey, a new part of the good guys, and Kylo, the bad guys, come together and they create like a grayness, and both of them take over the New Order, and then you see Luke having to go against them. Once more with the voice. It's all about the voice, says Sean. Well, Sean, okay. You keep supporting the channel, and I'll keep using the voice. That's how it goes. I've lost all interest in Star Wars. I don't know. I don't hate it. I actually bought my ticket tonight. So, I'm on AMC, so I got my ticket tonight. I don't hate it. I just got to see where it goes. Yeah, David, I'm not approving that, brother. And whoever didn't approve it beforehand did the right call. Let's not say that if we could, sir. I'd like to see Kylo overcome his anger issue. You know, interestingly enough, the thing about Kylo is he really seems to be more in control and more, I don't know, light-sided, light-leaning than Rey in a lot of instances. He really, keeps things under control and thinks things through. There are only so many instances where he goes crazy, and I'll admit he has temper tantrums. But when you remove those temper tantrums, he seems better than Rey, in my opinion. That's a nice cat. What's his name? His name is Pumpkin. I also have another cat named Mickey. So do you think they are going to make more Star Trek and Star Wars? I think they'll continue to make. Star Wars will probably still be made when we die, good friend. Star Trek will be made for a while too. I think that's making them some serious bank. I've always been an old EU Star Wars guy, as my handle shows. Well, there you go. I don't think Luke was dead. I think he was using the Jedi equivalent of astral projection. Yeah, but then he died after that. He faded away. Which doesn't make any sense at all. Nobody. Which doesn't make any sense, like, at all. When it takes his clothes, his hand, and everything like that. I also don't think the astral projection was necessarily a good idea. I don't know. Daniel's Hot Topics. I've unsubbed from Midnight's Edge. I'm tired of the constant negativity. Today it's all negativity because people want views and clicks. Thanks for being positive and awesome. Well, I mean, I don't know that I'm always positive necessarily. I just say things the way that I think of them. Has Midnight's Edge been negative recently? I don't know. I'm actually subscribed to them, but I don't watch them as much anymore. Will there ever be a Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money? There was. It's actually the Star Wars thing. That's the code name for them. Who's going to buy Jedi Fallen Order in 2 weeks? Probably not. Oh, I am. Yeah, the game? Yes, sir. I am a huge Star Wars fan, believe it or not. When I first started the channel, I think I've had this conversation. When I first started the channel, I was more focused on Star Wars than Star Trek. Absolutely loved it. Since, Star Trek's become what I've known for, and I've gotten more in depth on Star Trek than I ever have with Star Wars, I really like and appreciate Star Trek a lot more now, but Star Wars used to be my jam. I was all about it back in the day. Ironically, people like to bring up anti-Trek. Ow, using your talons when you come on to my shoulder doesn't endear me. When the two channels started out, because me and Anti-Tracker started similarly, his channel grew a little bit because of his Star Wars stuff, whereas mine grew as my Star Trek stuff. And he used to be very, very focused on Star Trek, whereas I was focused on Star Wars. So it was ironic the two kind of felt like they switched. I was 9 years old when episode 4 came out in 1977. Nice. I was not alive. I wish they would do part 3 of the last series on the PS3. Okay. And Ray is not a Mary Sue ice cream. Ray is a Mary Sue. She is. Mary Sue is hard. Calling someone a Mary Sue is somewhat irrelevant. Nobody. It's like using the terms like social justice warrior or anti-feminist or I don't know. I'm religious, not Christian. It doesn't mean a lot anymore because Mary Sue is so poorly defined that anything and everything can be a Mary Sue and nothing can be a Mary Sue. She is very poorly written, even worse than Michael, I would argue. No sir. Anti-Tracker never called me a bigot. Not to my knowledge. I mean, he may have done a video. I haven't watched any of his recent stuff. But to my knowledge, he never has. Steve Shives has. J.J. Abrams, insane hippie, supporting the channel. Thank you so much. J.J. Abrams is nothing more than a hack that is incapable of writing cohesive stories, in my opinion. The Force Awakens was a bad soft reboot that could not even get the hero's journey right. I have very little hope for this movie. I disagree that he's a hack. I think J.J. Abrams does some pretty solid stuff, and I think his body of work stands for itself. He couldn't get the hero's journey right in The Force Awakens. So, see, now you're doing this because I'm big into this stuff now, because I basically have an associate's in digital cinematography, which means I know everything. Why would you say that it didn't get the hero's journey correct? I'd be curious for you to go into that. And you don't have to actually give $10 or anything. Thank you so much. You don't have to give it again. Just do @lore reloaded. Keep the words together so it pings me. And let me know why you think that the hero's journey was done inappropriately or inaccurately. Wesley Crusher is a Mary Sue. He is indeed a Mary Sue. That I would agree. I just came in. What's happening? Well, Bruno, literally nothing was happening. We sat here in dead silence, and then as soon as you connected and started watching this, we actually started talking as if we'd been talking before. We were literally waiting on you. Mr. Miles, Chief Engineer, what's going on, sir? Silly YouTube rivalries. It just muddles up our fandom. Can't we all just get along? I wish. People have a hard time separating the ideas from the person in both ways. So I generally attack the ideas. I don't like attacking the person because I think that the person can change. So, for instance, I have said that people who believe in the 25% must be changed in the Trek are on par with flat earthers. And I sincerely believe that. Now, it's a bit of an ad hom, but the thing is that when you try to have a discussion about the 25%, nothing matters. The truth doesn't matter in that. But when it comes to the idea itself of the 25%, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think it's stupid. That doesn't mean the person's stupid necessarily, but the idea is absolutely stupid. Are you going to be doing any more ship breakdowns soon, especially B5 or Star Wars? I'm going to start doing some Star Wars and some Star Trek Online. I think I've done all of the Babylon 5. The Force Unleashed is a video game. They needed to do part 3. I played both. The Force Unleashed. It would be even dumber if Rey actually believed Kylo when he said that to her. Oh, about her not knowing her parentage and stuff. I would agree. I think that at the time it was 100% that her parents wouldn't have mattered, but obviously they're going to change that. Kirk is definitely a Mary Sue. People call him Gary. Mary Sue. I think that's where Shatner got his prima donna attitude. No, Shatner always had his prima donna attitude. That is just him. Shatner, not Kirk. I don't think Kirk is necessarily a Mary Sue. Because again, Mary Sue is so ill-defined these days. It can mean 100 different things. But generally, Kirk is... The interesting thing is, and the reason why I don't think so, is Kirk has flaws. He's relatable. He is not the strongest character we see in the episodes. He's not even the smartest character we see in the episodes. He holds his own, but he doesn't necessarily stand above or just do everything, and people don't fawn over him. He's fallible. I don't think he would fall under Mary Sue at any point. Sean, supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Sarcastic and funny. Hey, I do it for you, buddy. I do it for you. Meta Nerds does excellent ship breakdown for Star Wars. I knew Meta Nerds. Me and Meta Nerds started out similar at the same time too. I've actually talked with them. We were going to do a collab. Well, actually, I had talked with his girlfriend a lot, and she was into doing a collab. I didn't think he was all that interested, which is why I backed off. But I knew Meta Nerds right before they blew up. I was a subscriber to him, talked to him for quite a while. They blew up, and then about a couple months later, my channel blew up. So, Kirk isn't a Mary Sue because he had to rely too often on Spock and McCoy. That and other things, I think. Earth Final Contact would be awesome. I gotta do these other things first. The only internal struggle she had was of her past and parentage. That was largely tossed away. We're talking about Rey. Rey, yeah. The problem with Rey is they told us she had issues, but we were never really given issues. Being told someone has issues and someone actually portraying those are two different things. I wouldn't say poorly defined, but highly argued over what a Mary Sue is, and a lot of that are lies. No, the thing is that a Mary Sue literally came from the name of a Trek short story, and the person was just awful. But as decades have went on, people have added or taken away different integers of what a Mary Sue is. And so they can argue over what she is or ill-defined. I think we're saying the same thing. I was talking about Trudeau. Okay. The short treks are mirror universe alt realities. Mirror universe Alternate realities, you say. So they're in the mirror universe, but it's not the mirror universe itself. It's the alternate reality of the mirror universe. If your channel exploded, how are you here and not a red smear on your cat? I'm actually a hollow projection of my cat, from my cat, who just has me here. That's exactly what it is. She was a full Vulcan. Who was a full Vulcan? Are we talking about? The Mary Sue was a full Vulcan? I don't think she was a full Vulcan, was she? I know she was underage, and in the short story, Kirk tried to sleep with her. And she's like, no, you can't sleep with me because I'm underage. And they're like, okay. Then they all became sick, and she commanded the ship and took over. And then she died, and everybody, Kirk, McCoy, and Spock, all cried. Spock cried because she died. So the short treks are actually the Kelvinverse mirror universe. Not just mirror universe, but the alternate of the mirror universe, but in the Kelvinverse alternate universe. Can an entire universe be a Mary Sue? Yeah, we call that Andromeda. No, I'm just kidding. It's not Andromeda. I don't know, because if an entire universe is a Mary Sue, then that just means they're all hyper-powered, so it's just normal. I wouldn't call that necessarily a Mary Sue. I'd say that's just overly overpowered necessarily. Bruno Henrique Sequinel is confused. How are you confused, good sir? Andromeda is season 3 of Discovery. I would agree with that. I think it is too. The Mary Sue in the fan fiction that originated the name. Okay. Okay, so first off, James O'Keefe, why are you pimping someone else's channel other than mine, out of curiosity? Rey was a Mary Sue from the start, and no, she's nothing like Luke, even as of The Force Awakens. I don't think anyone's saying she's not a Mary Sue. I would be interested if someone thinks that she's not. I'm still, and I forget, and if I missed it, please say it again, but insane hippie insane, I would love how you think she didn't hit the hero's journey, because I don't know that I agree with that, but I do think that she's Mary Sue. Excellent. Love the ship breakdowns and your Dominion War vids. The Dominion War is a lot of why I watched DS9 back in the day. I'm a sucker for large space fleet engagements. Yeah, I would have loved to seen what they could have done now with Deep Space Nine and the Dominion War. They'd probably changed it to a way that we couldn't use, but I still would have enjoyed seeing like the ship battles. How awesome would that have been? By the way, we have 68 people watching, only 26 likes. Hit that like, people. Hit it. Hit it for the love. Isn't the hero's journey a dosage for magic mushrooms? No, it is not. It is not. It's a brilliant takedown of all the arguments for it's a random vid I found 8 years ago, but still valid. Well, who is it? Because I might have to delete it depending on who it is. Some channels I simply won't support. Let me see. That's very rare. I try to support most everyone. IDR Labs. I've never heard of it. 500,000. Huh. I will bookmark that and take a look. It's interesting. I tell you what. James, I trust you, so there better not be anything negative here. I'm going to go ahead and share it for people who want to take a look at it later. That better be good though. If it has any negativity in it, I'm gonna come for you. I'm coming for you, good sir. Rey is not a Mary Sue. She is a Mega Sue. Yeah, well, I mean, given my channel, it's my channel, and it's the internet. I don't expect a lot of people to really be defending her. The problem is I think that most normies simply ignore the way that they're written, which isn't necessarily good or bad, but when you take a look at Rey, if you can just enjoy mind-numbing, like what Red Letter Media says, the popcorn-eating populace, then, what's the point of it? But for those of us who really care about it, we get a lot up in ire. I can honestly say that, even if I didn't do this, because when The Force Awakens came out, the channel still wasn't anything, right? Not that it is right now. It's still small. When when I watched it, it still bugged me because it didn't fit with the EU. It didn't fit with a lot of other consistencies, but I didn't get like too upset about it. As far as space battles are done up in modern CG, I'd love to see B5's Battle of the Line redone. Oh my god, that would be awesome. I would love that too. Chris Borland helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Topher, as far as... Nope, I've said that. Stuart Colley, can I ask why a strong woman lead always leads to this conversation? What do you mean by that, Stuart Colley? Do you mean, why does a strong woman lead always lead to conversations of Mary Sue's? Because if you're talking about that, this very live stream contradicts that. We've talked about if Kirk was a Mary Sue. We've talked about Wesley Crusher definitively being a Mary Sue, and other male heroes who have been quote-unquote Mary Sues. So a strong female lead doesn't always lead to that. If you would like to know why a strong female lead leads to that in The Force Awakens, or why it's always associated with Rey, or more commonly in movies these days, it's really pretty easy. So the executives of movie companies, including Paramount, Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilms, they all want to make a ton of money, like just an unreasonable. They want to make so much money that if they put it in a house, it would kill someone because they couldn't get out of the house because they'd be smothered. And so to do that, they follow trends in society. And what they'll do is when they see in society there's a big push for feminism or feminists or female leads, they will then try to put a female lead in the movie in order to get as much of society to watch said movie. Unfortunately, they don't really understand why social trends exist for the way that they exist. They just know that if I do X, a lot of people may watch this. And so they will take a female, put her in the lead position, and then try to make her as feminist as possible in order to bring people in. Unfortunately, again, not understanding the social ramifications or what the actual piece they're actually going down into means, they'll put a parody of the person in. They'll try to make it a strong female lead and not know how to do that. And so they really are being insulting to the person who goes there, the actual societal woes, issues, or things they're trying to push, as well as the empowerment that they're trying to do. They're writing something bad because they're trying to make an ton of money from what they see from society instead of actually making a female lead. So if that's your question, why do we always talk about strong female leads in movies today, generally being Mary Sue's? It's because they're trying to make money and they don't care about actually pushing the agendas they want to. And so it's criticized generally, appropriately, sometimes not so much. Let me know if that's what you were talking about, and if not, we can continue on. I've heard the Christian god called a Mary Sue in comparison to the weak drama queen Greek gods. Yeah, absolutely. The Christian... Okay, I don't want to get into that. You almost pulled me in. You almost did it. I don't want to have that conversation at all. So just wipe away the last 3 minutes. Wipe away anything you heard about the Christian God. Bruno, your channel's always been interesting. Well, that's what I try to do. I try to make it a conversation. I try to make it very interesting. There are main male characters that we consider OP as well, indeed. So, Stuart, I hope that breaks it down. If not, I think it was Stuart. I hope it breaks it down. If it didn't, let me know, and we can continue on that conversation. It's also worth noting that they're selling ad time. Your turn to watch ads. The story gets you there, so it can be controversial. It's also worth noting who's selling ads? Yeah, we're not talking about theology. He almost did it. He almost got me in. Because if you've been watching my stuff, I am all about like film theory and the hero's journey and death of the author, and I am eating this crap up. I am basically a centrist Lindsay Ellis right now, and so you're like, hey, look at that, you almost did it. I saw your video about the prophets, and I agree that both the minds and the prophets' intervention was space magic, but I still loved them. And I mean, that's fine. That's the interesting thing. People don't understand this. Like when I break stuff down, when I talk about specifically, X, Y, and Z, or this doesn't make any sense, or it completely breaks continuity. Some people come up and be like, well, I still liked it anyway. They either say I agree or I don't agree with what you did, and I think it's great writing. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm giving my opinion and to start a conversation. That's people. It surprises the living heck out of people when they're like, well, I really like Star Trek Discovery. Well, that's great. I'm happy that you can enjoy it to the extent that you do. It's not personal for me. I don't care if you like it or not. I mean, let me rephrase that, because that's not completely true. I actually am glad that people can enjoy something that I don't, or like it more than I don't. I actually get enjoyment from the criticisms that I do, but if you like something I don't, then, that's fine. I don't see why we can't be like that. My God is far beyond your Mary Sue, that you are a speck of sand that a spider steps on. I would agree that your God, as written in the Bible, could absolutely 100% destroy me should he want to. And there's nothing I can do about it. So praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, I guess. I completely disagree. Well, I don't say completely. I disagree heavily with a lot of what Lindsay says. I watch her stuff now more and more because I like the way she does her video essays, and she talks about the things I'm interested in now, death of an author, etc. And then it's funny because I'll watch, Rob Stone is here, everybody. We can now start. I'll watch a 40-minute video she does, and like 3 to 5 minutes of it, I cannot stand, could not disagree more. But then I enjoy the other stuff. It's just interesting how it just destroys the flow for me. But I think she puts stuff out pretty well. We almost Lore Reloaded. We almost got into a religious conversation. That's cool. I guess I'll have to wait next Sunday. Hey, I mean, whatever other channels want to do, that's on them. But I am not doing, at least not on this. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'll talk about it on Twitter until I fall asleep or, whatever. Mary Sue seems like a cover for misogynist behavior. Whatever. F off, Stuart. Oh, man. Mary Sue seems like a cover for misogynist behavior, at least in regard to Burnham and Discovery. It was honestly the first time I'd heard the term. Well, to me, someone who gives the criticism that Mary Sue is just code word or dog whistling for misogyny, that person simply can't defend the art that they like and have no idea how to counter it. So they just call it misogyny because that's what you do. You call the person who has wrongthink the bad thing. So now that we've gotten done insulting each other, Stuart, if you would like to give me a reason why you think she's not a Mary Sue, we can engage in that conversation. If you can't counter why she's not a Mary Sue, then you really need to look at your base ideals and your base thoughts and go do more research, because it's possible that you're wrong. Now, you may not be. You may just not know the appropriate arguments, but if you can't counter it, you can't say it's misogyny because you don't know. Good evening, Lore and everyone. What's up, Commander Sloan? Hope you're doing well, good sir. Lots of arguments over who the best captain is. Yeah, that's always going to happen. That will always occur. That's weird. I heard about Mary Sue in the early 90s. I don't know the first time I heard Mary Sue. Did you just F off someone? Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. It's just, that's a stupid argument that's used a lot. It annoys me because it's like, and Stuart, I don't think you did it on purpose, but it really annoys me because I get that a lot. I'll say, I don't like X because I don't like Burnham because I think she's a Mary Sue, or I think Cisco's a criminal because of what he did to the planet. And people will come back and say, oh, you're just a racist or you're a misogynist, and never can counter my arguments. It is, and again, I'm not saying Stuart does it, but that is like the common retort. And the thing that annoys me is regardless of whether it's misogynistic or not, is it right? Is the misogynist saying something that is accurate? Attack the ideas. And it frustrates me because that is why we have the current politics that we have. The people who are in power right now it's because of that. And people just don't see it. Gary Stu was made up later. Mary Sue is the actual term. Yeah, that's why I say Mary Sue. Mary Sue is the term, and that's why I call it any character is a Mary Sue, because that's the term. Gary Stu was just something that was put up there. Thanks for supporting, by the way. Insane Hippie Insane says Rey has no call to action in The Force Awakens, but Finn does. In The Force Awakens, Rey frees herself without the help and process learns most of Kylo's knowledge when Kylo is interrogating her in the movie. I disagree with that to a point. I think that Rey's call to action probably one of two things. Well, one of three things. First off, the call to action or the inciting incident doesn't necessarily have to be in your face. All the call to action is, all the inciting incident is something that takes the hero who is in their normal world and takes them into the underworld or the new world, the fantastical. And so the inciting incident for Rey could be the meeting of BB-8. That could be the call to action. It doesn't have to be something crazy. Could also be Finn, when Finn comes in and changes her world. Or, if you have to have action, when the New Order attacks the whatever city she's at, I forget the name of it, when they attack and are looking for Finn and BB-8, that could be the inciting incident. Again, an inciting incident doesn't have to be just this big, huge thing. It could be as little as somebody finding a penny on the ground and that causing them to pause or go in a different direction. It's just taking them from their normal world into the next world. Now, when it comes to other things you're talking about, the things they go through, maybe. I mean, we'd have to break that down a little bit more, but I do think that she has a call to action. I think that's a little unfair, in my opinion. I could be wrong. It's okay to have a disagreement too. Only sincere people get upset over, I guess you're saying insecure people? To a degree. Oh man. Proper argument is about the idea and is backed up by context you see on screen. Well, sure, fair enough. Oh, 83 people watching, 42 likes. Let's at least get it to 60. Can we get it to 60 people? The more likes you do, the more people that watch it. What they did to Finn was a travesty. The guy was supposed to be a trained soldier, special forces, trained and indoctrinated from birth, who broke his conditioning. He could have been so good to follow. What do you think they did that turned him around? I think what they did in the second movie was a reset of the character. That is a travesty. I completely agree. But in the first movie, him being like a coward, someone who the training didn't take, and coming into his own, I don't know that wasn't done inaccurately. Cisco did have war crimes. He was a war criminal. He was Ryan. Can I ask Disney for all my money back for all the Star Wars I've seen in the past? You can, in fact, ask them that. You can send them an email. I doubt you'll get it back, but you can. I hope Finn becomes a Jedi, since he basically was the first one that Kylo sensed he is Force sensitive. Did they ever confirm he was Force sensitive? I don't think they did. I tell you, something that, I use the word triggered very loosely. But when he utilized the lightsaber and then wasn't a Jedi, I did get a little bit triggered, because the old EU, you had to be Force sensitive or you hurt yourself. Like you would straight up just hurt yourself. I do have a Discord. Honestly, I have not used it all that much. It's a little bit of a dead server, but you're welcome to come and hang out there. There's also a Patreon only server, but that one, as on the tin, you have to be a part of Patreon or a member on YouTube. Yep, he's a non-Force sensitive Kyle Katarn of Dark Forces. Okay. Any soldier will eventually break. Just read the Broken Man passage. Maybe. Han used a lightsaber on the Tauntaun. Yeah, but that's different. Using a lightsaber on the Tauntaun just to open something up and using it in battle are two different things, right? How did General Grievous use lightsabers without being Force sensitive? In fact, he was force sensitive, good friend. In the EU, the official canon of the EU, he was in fact force sensitive. One of the reasons that he was destroyed and a lot of his body taken away was not only to have his brain messed with, so he would actually join the war because he didn't want to originally, but was to disempower him, like we see with Vader. Vader, when he was Anakin Skywalker, Vader's not as powerful because of all of the armor and stuff that's put on him. So I know a lot of my Star Wars, at least the EU. I don't know the more recent stuff. Yeah, but a lightsaber or a force pike is a very different thing than a metal blade. I completely agree. Han was not using the weapon as a weapon. Yeah, exactly, Charles Rhinley. That's what I was saying. When you're opening a Tauntaun, that is completely different than, having a fight. I thought the EU was delegated to Legends. It is, which is what I was saying. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I actually respect the fact that they did that. They're just like, hey, we're not even going to deal with any of this. None of this is canon anymore. I can respect that. What is your favorite species on Star Trek that has very little coverage or lore? I'd like to see more on the Breen. In Star Trek, I'm really becoming a huge fan of the Trills. I like Bajorans, Betazoids. Who doesn't like Orions? Grievous was also force sensitive. A lot of people were force sensitive. They had to do it. I think Grievous was force sensitive. Maybe I was wrong on that. If I am, that's a continuity issue. Because he had biologicals. Bruno saying wow. Why are you saying wow? Did I do something wrong? I thought lore was anti-EU. I mean, look, I gotta respect the Germans. Basically, when Hitler failed, Merkel said, "You know what? I'm going to do what Hitler never could," and she did it. It wasn't surprising with the French. I mean, they think the way to win a war is to side with evil. So when they joined Germany, that was understandable. But taking out the rest of Europe economically, Hitler would be proud. I think she's she's off the old block. You guys know how much hate I get off that? Oh my God. People are so triggered that I make jokes about the European Union. Almost daily, I get at least one comment about how offended people are on the EU. It's just stupid. Because I'm obviously joking. I don't care. Trek does need giant stompy robots, though, that's for sure. SJWs have no arguments, just name calling and labeling of people. Am I doing advertisements for fan films? I'm not, but I am sponsoring a fan film that's coming out. If there's a fan film you want me to look into, I'd be happy to. To be fair, France also sided with the U.S. during the Revolution. Oh, sure. They when they see evil, they know it. See, I'm not against making fun of everybody. I don't care. SJWs have no arguments. I would think there are some social justice warriors that can defend the less toxic elements. I think there's a Twitch streamer called Destiny. He's also on YouTube. I think he does a fairly decent job. But on YouTube, most people are toxic. The Star Wars EU was epic. I wish it was canon, but now it's a parallel universe. Even George Lucas said to think of it as a parallel universe now. Yeah. You gotta, expect it. I banged Mary Sue and her mother. Okay. What's my favorite fan film? I really like Prelude to Axanar. I think it's excellent. Not looking at anything else. I like the one I'm looking at too. The Romulan War is pretty good. You leaving, Commander Sloan, or is Cryptic Charm someone else leaving? Cryptic Charm, it's 4:30 UK time. Talk to you later, buddy. Yeah, I'm going to be ending this fairly shortly too. Watch the Ultimate History Hub episode video if France never happened. I'm subscribed to them. They were somewhat of an inspiration for the channel originally. I didn't know they had something about France. I'll take a look at it though. Alternate History Hub though, they've kind of went off the beaten path, as it were. So, if France had never surrendered, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, I mean, Axanar is supposed to be moving forward. It looks like they actually are, so I'm hopeful, but I guess we'll have to see. What amazes me the most about Axanar is they got actual actors. They weren't the only ones to ever do that, but yeah, I think that's cool. Given the original Mary Sue dies at the end of their journey to emphasize how loved they were by everyone, as the character is ultimately a tragic one. Given that the original Mary Sue dies at the end of their journey to emphasize how loved they were by everyone, is the character ultimately a tragic one? Tragic hero definition. I don't know. So let's look up the definition. A tragic hero is a tragic hero is a literary character who makes a judgment error that inevitably leads to his or her own destruction. She didn't make an error that led to her own destruction. That was just bad luck. So, is she a tragic hero within the story? I don't think so. She had no judgment error. What is Axanar doing now that Richard Hatch has died? I assume they're getting a different actor. A lot of the actors have pulled out too, so they're replacing actors. Axanar has been filming the past few weeks. They've been doing a lot of live behind the scenes. Yeah, I know they have, Mr. Miles, but they've been. Alec has talked a lot about getting Axanar done, and it's supposed to be done every year, and it never is. So I mean, it's my hope they get it done. I hope it looks great. So it's been said that's going to be done a lot and has never been. But they're closer than they ever have been. So I'm hoping they're definitely going to be there. I wouldn't say so tragic heroes have a personal fault. That is a literal reason that brings them to a bad end. Death of a Salesman crossover with Star Trek. Yeah. Well, no, he kills himself in Death of a Salesman. Hey, Laura, what we talking about? Well, we're talking about you getting here, Jeremiah Clark. That's what we've been waiting on. Everyone's been like, well, when's Jeremiah Clark going? I'm like, I don't know. He's supposed to be here, but he's not. I mean, that's literally been the entire conversation. Yeah, I mean, tragic heroes, there's a Greek definition and then a more modern definition for them. Believe it or not, when it comes to writing in films, there are a lot of theories behind them. So, and a lot of nuance. So, it's not as cut and dry anymore. What's your favorite non-canon Star Trek starship? My personal one is the Pacific 201. I don't know. That's... I don't know. I focus so much on canon that I don't really look a lot at the non-canon. There are some that I like in Star Trek Online, but that's a weird thing right now, because I think Star Trek Online is going to become a lot more canon even than it is right now. So, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I was hoping for Richard Hatch to have succeeded in bringing back the original Battlestar Galactica reunion movie. Yeah, but they're remaking Battlestar Galactica. You probably already know that, so... All right, guys, I'm going to be ending this very shortly. So if you have any other questions or anything like that, let me know. Romeo and Juliet together in eternity. We can be like they are. We can die together. Okay. Yeah, I mean, non-canon. I like the Ares class. That's a really good point. I do like the Ares class quite a bit. By the way, person who just messaged me on Facebook, I'll hit you up tomorrow if you don't mind. Ping me again tomorrow, and I can give you advice on. Well, and I think you were asking that. When it comes to advice on making a fan film, I don't. Talk to you later, Dane. Depends on what specific advice you want. You can hit me up tomorrow if this isn't good enough. Again, I'm tired, but the I guess my advice would be write something within your means and something you enjoy and have fun with. I wouldn't have a lot of effects if you don't know how to do it or can't afford it. If the best thing I would suggest is to stay within the CBS guidelines. But in theory, they are guidelines, and I'm not convinced that if you go outside that you're going to get killed or anything about that. So if you go outside, I'm not sure. I know in some of the stuff I'll be doing, I'm not exactly going to stick to the guidelines. But I'm not telling you to, and I'm not a lawyer by any means. So I guess just stay within your means, write within your means, and write what you enjoy. That's what I would suggest. Now, if you want more than that, you said it'll be a cartoon, which is fine. So I guess within your means, if it's a cartoon, then you can do almost anything you want. Mine will not be a cartoon. But I don't know. If you want more, let me know. I'm curious, have you played the Mass Effect trilogy? It's a great sci-fi universe. Not only have I played the Mass Effect trilogy, I in fact have done breakdowns on them. Talk to you later, R. McDudd. Thanks for coming by, buddy. What's my thoughts on Star Trek Picard? I've already talked about it. I'm cautiously optimistic, but they've lied to us before, so we really don't know what it's going to be like until we actually see it. I'll be looking up those breakdowns as soon as the stream ends. You're talking about the Mass Effect? Yeah. They might trigger you a little bit because I think they could have been done better. Will trigger you. You might be like, well, you got some of this stuff wrong. Like with the Normandy, which is the one I can instantly find. The Normandy itself, and this was a long time ago. This was in 2018. The Normandy, I used images of the SR2 when talking about the SR1, but that's because there's not a lot of images of the SR1. But there's one. Thoughts of Game of Thrones prequels? I've watched some Game of Thrones. I'm not hugely into it. If you had to choose, which would you choose, Empire or Rebels? I mean, it depends on what we're looking for. Empire took care of its people. One of the things of the Empire was that, it just, as long as you did what the Emperor wanted to, he generally left you alone, and it was pretty prosperous until the Rebels started doing stupid stuff. So, I mean, have I played Star Wars, the Old Republic? Heck yeah, I have. Did you only break down the Mass Effect ships and such, or do you talk about the story? Just the ships. I haven't gotten to the store. Hope to see more Robotech. You'll be seeing that at the end of the week. Stay tuned. All right, guys. Anything else before we head out? ME3 wasn't that bad. I liked ME3. Of course, I got it towards the end. So after they've done all the updates and stuff, so I didn't see any of that stupid programming glitches or stuff with the faces or anything like that. I got it like years later, so I actually really liked it. I was actually playing a demo, and I liked the demo so much that I bought the game. I rarely do that. Talk to you later, Commander. You have a good night too. It's getting late here in Brazil, and I need to go to sleep. Yeah, I'm going to bed soon too. Should the Aventine be canon? I don't know what the Aventine is. Should I know what the Aventine is? Aventine? What, Star Trek? The ship, the Aventine? Sure. Sure it should. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I've played all of the Mass Effects. Mass Effect 3... Oh, yeah. No, that was the one with beyond the ending, the stupid ending. Even when they changed it, I think the ending was horrific. But I still like that one too. Real question, is Republic or Empire freedom with corrupt government or a totalitarian military state who ruled with an iron fist? Real question, is the Republic or Empire? Real question is Republic or Empire? Oh, freedom with a corrupt government or a totalitarian military? I don't know. I think there's more to that. It comes down to the best for people and the happiness level of the people. The dark matter ending would have been better. Yeah, I don't know about any kind of leaked endings or anything like that. The three different colors was just stupid. The indoctrination theory saves the end of Mass Effect 3, but it's not canon, so yeah. That's one thing I didn't like about the... I know they tried to change it, and it still sucked, but I wish they hadn't gone out of their way to do the change so the indoctrination theory couldn't be that way. They should have left that open-ended. I really think they should have. The indoctrination theory was just so well put together that I hate that they did that. The slipstream ship from the Typhon pack. Okay. Typhoon? Yeah. Mass Effect 3 ending was pure poop. I appreciate you supporting the channel, Sean. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of it at all. And it made no sense. It had more holes in it than anything Discovery could have done. So I'm glad they patched it and changed it so that it actually did make sense. Should have left the indoctrination theory as an option. Or at least just not put dialogue in there that completely stops it. I don't know why they wanted or needed that. No, the changes on the new ending for Mass Effect 3 specifically went it out of its way to debunk the indoctrination theory. Like they went out of their way to do it. It was unfortunate, in my opinion. They were going with the suns were being eaten by dark matter, growing with mass civilization using spaceflight with Reapers were a failsafe to stop and reset the galaxy. Sure. Alright guys, I think we're going to end it here. I wanted to do a live one tonight. Nobody. So thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next